Would you divorce your spouse over an emotional affair with ChatGPT?
Or what if Claude convinced you that you had the perfect wrongful termination case and everything it told you was completely wrong?
What you put in is what you get back. A lot of people are still getting trained on how to use AI, generative AI, and how to prompt because it gets things wrong. It's not just about hallucination anymore. Machine learning and artificial intelligence are revolutionizing so many areas of life, but many people forget that AI is just a tool, not a crystal ball. We're seeing AI use come up in some surprising contexts with our legal clients.
We're going to tell some funny stories from prospective and past clients, give you some practical advice, and examine why AI is making people more confident, but sometimes more wrong. This is the Glamorous Grind. Become everyone's therapist, lawyer, coach, relationship counselor, whether it's qualified or not.
And now it's showing up in divorce cases, employment disputes, and even settlement negotiations. Today we're talking about how AI is changing our jobs and your life.
I mean, I would definitely say that I am very cognizant of clients who use AI. I usually do not sign those clients if they are very aggressive about their AI analysis not because I think they're wrong or bad. I just feel that I am going to be unable to manage their expectations. So no matter what resolution I'm able to obtain for them, they will not be happy. I mean, I've explained it to clients several times, both on PI and employment cases. AI is not really able to evaluate the proper value of the case. On personal injury cases, most of the time, even if you have millions of dollars in injuries, but the policy is $30,000, it doesn't matter how many injuries you have or how much treatment you get. You're kind of stuck with the policy. You have to make a policy limits demand first before you can get anything more. And most of the time, if your injuries are substantial enough to qualify for the $30,000 policy, they pay that out and you're done.
Or you may open up the policy if they don't respond in 30 days, and then you could go for unlimited damages that may cover what your pain and suffering is and special expenses such as medical bills. That's if they don't miss the deadline.
They always, I mean, if you, most of the time insurance carriers, if it's a policy limits case, they'll pay the policy limits. So, the clients are not happy and they say, well, my injuries are X, Y, and Z and I should get treatment. And I'm always, very cautious about it because you get the treatment and there's a lien on the case for treatment and maybe it exceeds the value of the claims. So AI is not very good at assessing, the value of the case because it doesn't know the policy limits. And a lot of times you may be stuck to that.
Absolutely true, except for let's not use the word always pay because insurance company will not always pay. It depends on what your policy limits are. If you have the minimum policy limits of like 30,000, maybe 50 or 100, okay, you have a good chance they may pay out. But if you have $500,000 or a higher policy, they're not going to just take out their checkbook.
Of course, no. But I'm saying generally speaking, if you put your case facts into ChatGPT and they give you analysis of the case, they're not going to take into consideration all of these other factors that you need attorneys for.
Of course, what you put in is what you get back. And a lot of people are still getting trained on how to use AI, generative AI, and how to prompt the system. If you enter an open-ended question, it'll pull data from a whole bunch of sources on the internet that will not be specific to your situation.
Right.
So you have to guide it a certain way for it to give you better advice.
Right.
Even us as attorneys, the state bar recently issued a AI guidance policy. We're allowed to use AI. There are many platforms that we use, co-counsel through Westlaw, Lexis, people use Claude, ChatGPT. There are many different AI platforms now, but we're required to check what it produces, to check the facts, to check the analysis, and use human knowledge and expertise to evaluate before we provide it to clients because it gets things wrong. It's not just about hallucination anymore. It's going to read right. It's going to look perfect, but its conclusions may be wrong because it needs to have that information that a general pro per wouldn't have when it comes to legal issues, things that we learn in law school, things that we learn through experience and in practice that we would know to ask or to prompt it to think about. And then it will completely change its answer.
Right. A lot of people put in the facts and maybe they're egregious, but at the same time, you look at the damages. And AI is not always able to ascertain effectively what the damages are. It may be something very egregious, and maybe they did experience emotional distress because of it. And maybe AI is going to say they have $200,000 in damages because of the emotional distress they've experienced. But they have past trauma, and they've been getting therapy for 5 years because of an abusive relationship or something else that also contributed to the emotional distress and the therapy they had to obtain. AI is not going to take that into account. And the potential client won't even know to put that in
Right.
for AI to take that into account. So I get that all the time where people say, well, ChatGPT says my case is worth X, Y, and Z. And then the second part is, yes, your case may be worth X, Y, and Z if we take it all the way through trial. I mean, it's inevitable that when you settle a case before the trial, you're going to be paid a little bit less. That's kind of the payoff. So it's been very difficult trying to manage client expectations with AI. I do my best, but immediately, even in an intake, when I see that the client is using AI and is very confident in ChatGPT's findings, I immediately it's like a red flag for me. Like, I don't think that this relationship is going to work out.
Well, I think it's about boundaries. I love AI myself. I know its limitations. I love playing around with it, testing it, seeing if it's accurate or not, challenging it, trying new things. And I love clients who use it. I think it's great. But it's funny when you receive something from a client that's super long and they want you to read it and they send you a lot of it constantly, demanding your time to read something that may not be relevant at all to what you're helping them at that time. So they may be wasting their retainer because as attorneys in family law who charge on hourly basis, client pays a retainer, it goes into a client trust account, we bill for our time per hour. So if a client is using ChatGPT and is sending us books, pages to read, and they want us to know everything about their life and the case that they've dictated to ChatGPT and now it wrote us a book, well, guess what? It's going to drain your retainer and you're not going to have sufficient funds available to complete the rest of your goals you have for which you may have a budget. Be careful in not giving your attorney too much information that you want them to know that they may not need yet. Your attorney will ask you what facts they need, what information, what documents they need. Provide that. The time it may take for them to review multiple pages of facts, that portion of them would be relevant to what they need, could be saved towards projects that will advance your case further at the right time.
Do you think, in your experience, that most prospective clients are using AI in a way that makes them more informed, or have you seen that they're more blindly trusting it?
Depends on the person and their level of education and comfort with AI. I think most people don't blindly trust it. At least after you tested it out for a while, you realize it makes mistakes. And it's not just about hallucinations, it's about conclusions. Depends on your life experiences and your age, right? By 40, you know whether certain things are true or not. In your 20s, you may not know that and believe it blindly because you haven't been there, haven't done that. So you're unable to issue spot.
I've had two types of clients who use AI. The first set are the ones who say, hey, I know your assessment is X, but I looked this up and it found Y. Can you explain this to me? Now, I respect that, and I am glad to do that and sit down and talk them through it. The second set is the ones that come to me aggressively and act like I am not advocating for them because ChatGPT said their case is worth $10 million and I'm recommending that they settle for $150. And that is where I have a problem because, I'm on your side. That's what I always tell them. We're on the same side. So, I find that also it depends on the person, and definitely people's approach to it makes a big difference in how I approach the clients. I agree with you. I think AI is a wonderful resource, a wonderful tool. It expedites so much and just saves so much value. It has so much value and saves so much resources, but you do have to be cautious in using it as an informational source, but still try to utilize critical thinking to ensure that it all makes sense.
Absolutely. I think it's really funny when attorneys even send emails, I can tell by the font and the dashes in their pleadings that it's through ChatGPT. And I'm like, at least can you just change your font or take out the dashes so I know that it's not ChatGPT speaking with me?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally understand. I've seen that as well.
And clients do that too. The other day, actually, I mentioned that to one of my clients. I'm like, okay, if you're going to send that text to someone, take out the dashes.
Yeah. Have you had clients who divorced over an AI related affair?
We've had consultations where a client was suspicious of someone having an affair.
Really? They like checked the ChatGPT messages.
Correct.
I saw a meme the other day where it was like a boyfriend and girlfriend sitting, and the girlfriend says to the boyfriend, "I'm sad." And he just goes, "Don't be sad." And then she goes, "Ugh." And then she like checks her phone and puts in, "I'm sad." And ChatGPT is like, "Don't worry, I'm with you. Let's talk this out. What are you sad about? You're not alone." And she just like leaves her boyfriend, gets up and walks away. And it's funny, but at the same time, like that is what our future is going to hold. That people feel more comfortable communicating with AI than other people.
Yeah, in preparing for this episode, I found a Reddit post and it was pretty funny. This guy says that he's been chatting about his relationship with his girlfriend, with ChatGPT about his girlfriend, and named the ChatGPT chat Emma. And then the girlfriend, who wasn't proud of it, looked through his phone and found that he's asking all these questions and speaking with Emma and started questioning him about it. And he feels like the ChatGPT understands him a lot better. Same situation like you've described, than speaking with her. And it's hard to prove to her that it's not a real person that he's having an affair with, that he is chatting with.
Yes.
So it's becoming a thing.
ChatGPT probably does understand him better.
A lot of people use ChatGPT's therapist. A lot of my clients do. It's meant to agree with you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's like whether it's ChatGPT or you go to a real therapist of your own. Imagine if the other person is not in the room. If you are in therapy, individual therapy, and you're complaining about your ex, you're going to tell them all the horrible things that person has done to you and the way you've perceived it and the way it made you feel, which the same story could be told absolutely differently by the other person with additional facts and information that you're not sharing. You're doing the same thing with ChatGPT, giving it one side of the story, and then it's trained to agree with you. Because even if you tell it, hey, it's wrong, it's going to apologize. Say, you're totally correct. I'm wrong. And it'll go off apologizing, fixing things the way you want it to do, whether or not you're wrong.
I have used ChatGPT in a different way. I'll be like totally honest with you. Every once in a while, I find myself like in a conflict and I feel prideful. And I'll put in both sides to ChatGPT. And I'll be like, give me the other person's perspective. Because when you're angry, it's really hard to be empathetic. So I like look at the other person's perspective through the ChatGPT, and then it tells me, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe. And I ask to do like a real neutral evaluation of the conflict because I feel like it kind of like cools me down a little bit and makes me see a little clearer. So I think if you're able to put your ego aside and do that, it's helpful.
That's actually good advice for our family law clients who are in custody disputes to ask it to see it from the other person's side. But many don't want to or not ready and have such disdain for the other person that it's hard to see it from their perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I feel like it's really dangerous because generally our up and coming generations already have so much trouble communicating, especially after COVID. The young kids are just struggling to have basic communication skills with the uprise of social media and how people think they're going to be perceived and all of these things. But then you throw in this like empathetic, like ChatGPT who understands everything or whatever AI system that actually will understand these kids. And I just think it will really long term put a hamper in kids' ability to communicate if we don't control it.
Everything changes. The times change. I think people will adapt.
I hope so.
And it'll be fine. Every human being, whether or not we have technology, seeks human interaction, company to feel sane. I recently saw on Facebook that in China, they released a robot that looks just like a human being. It says it's soon. They're working on it becoming an intimate partner for people, but for now, it's not yet prepared. However, it is an emotional partner. The creator, who's speaking about his product, is not the most attractive guy, actually, one of the least attractive men you'll ever see. And I understand why he was driven to create this robot. And what he said about it is that it will not betray you. It'll be kind to you. It'll always understand and listen to you, no matter what. It's not going to leave you. And what do we deal with in relationships? You become poor, you may get dumped. You become ugly, they may leave you for someone better looking. There's so much shit happening in real relationships: betrayal, jealousy, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, all that. Somebody always wants a piece of you in some way. And he's created a product, a robot that'll be loyal to him, whether or not he's rich, whether or not he's ugly or good looking, no matter what. And eventually he wants to have sex with it, but not yet. He's working on it. But that's where the world is going. Is there anything wrong with it? No. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. If it keeps somebody sane and you sleep with whoever you want, you do what you want, it's nobody's business. You want to have a relationship with a robot? Go ahead, if it's going to keep you sane and happy, rather than sitting by yourself at home and being all alone and being suicidal.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
Why?
Because I think that we're in a society where people chase comfort, and those people, that guy or whoever else, he's just like, I'm sad and lonely, and I'm going to sit and not find anyone because this is my comfort zone. And he's so scared to get out of his comfort zone. And he's essentially creating this robot so other people who also crave real communication and real relationships are also going to be like, well, why do I need to step out of my comfort zone and do something that makes me uncomfortable? Let me just get this like quick dopamine hit by creating a fake robot instead.
I disagree with you, because he doesn't need to go and hunt for some wife in some village that he may not be attracted to and have to tolerate her attitude and deal with all the BSs of life. If he's happy with a robot, he can focus his energy to contribute to the well-being of society in some other productive way, because he's not going to be focusing his time on fighting and arguing and all this unproductivity here. He's going to be focused on being productive and creating other things.
One of the things in our society right now is like chasing quick dopamine hits, chasing shortcuts. And this is just one of those things. People are like, I'm too lazy, I'm too scared, I don't feel like chasing like real relationships. Like real relationships are not being super attracted to someone and having fun and being emotionally supported. It's like early mornings, late nights, morning breaths, like dealing with annoying ass kids and like wanting to lose your shit all the time. Like that's real life that people have dealt with for generations, and now no one wants to deal with it because it's hard.
Those who want to reproduce will have to deal with it. Those who don't will not. They'll find a robot because it's either, look, we have cats, we have dogs. A robot will be an addition to our households in the next several decades.
But then, like, no one will ever
I'm
need
on a waiting
anyone.
list for Elon's a robot.
Yeah, I actually am too.
I want him to clean my house.
The house. Yeah, I need that.
I need to wash my dishes. I wanted to wash my house, fold my towels. Okay, why don't you go hire yourself to do that?
This is the emotional connection. I think every person needs an emotional connection. And if we start coming outside of that and feeling like it's acceptable to crave that and get it from an inanimate object as opposed to another human being, I think that could be a long-term problem for our society. And I think it doesn't say so much about that person or that robot, but as much as it does like underlying our society of like, now real connection is gone. People will literally feel, statistically proven, feel closer to strangers on social media than they do in people and they know in real life.
That's not any different just because there's ChatGPT. Think about AOL. I don't know how old were you at that point. Maybe I was like 16, so you're probably 6.
It was like the best dopamine hit in the
AOL
world.
days, there were like AOL chat rooms, and it's same shit, just different technology. And what happened? People still had boyfriends, girlfriends, because naturally that's what everybody seeks. It's going to continue to happen. That's the biology of human race.
I hope so.
If you can, you will. If you cannot, and you're in a bad place, it may help you get to a better place when you're ready.
And now it's time for Let's Get Gritty. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's see what our listener question is today. Okay, this is a long one. Recently, I, a 33-year-old female, and my husband, a 32-year-old male, have grown distant. It began slowly, but over the course of a couple of months, the change has become noticeable. Last weekend, I arranged a camping trip for just the two of us. While on our way to the campground, I noticed my husband being rather protective over his phone. I questioned him about it, and in response, he put his phone back into his pocket while not answering any of my questions. He repeatedly claimed he needed to get something from the car throughout the trip, and every time I saw him pulling out his phone. Not suspicious at all. When we went to bed the following night, I waited until he fell asleep and took his phone to the bathroom for a check. Good job, girl. I'm not proud of this, but I did find the cause of the distancing. Instead of finding girls on his phone, I found a series of AI chatbot apps where he was talking to these anime women. The conversations were very explicit, to say the least. I brought it up at breakfast the morning after, and he deflected. I asked how much money he spent on this, and he got very quiet and wouldn't answer. In my rage, I screamed and threatened to packed my bags. I'm currently at my dad's house to give me time to reflect. I'm so hurt and honestly betrayed, yet I feel silly at the same time. I want our marriage to work out, but to me this feels like the step before cheating with a real woman. How do we move on from this? Ugh.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. Certainly feels like a betrayal. But what I'm hearing is that he is addicted to these apps. So he has codependency with his phone and emotional addiction as well. If you want to save the marriage because you love him, and so far you believe it's only with technology that he's having an affair, not with another human being, your options are to seek marital counseling, as well as require that he attends individual counseling, because he will have withdrawal symptoms as he works through letting his addiction go. You've noticed this distance the last 3 to 4 months. So there's still a chance, because it hasn't been that long. It's going to be easier, I think, to get him off this wrong path rather than if it was happening for years. But I don't know. You'll have to talk to professionals about that. So step 1, marital counseling. He needs to commit to go to individual counseling to deal with his withdrawal symptoms, like people have with any sort of addiction, whether it's alcohol or drugs. And then you're going to have to tolerate all that. I'm sure he's going to try to cheat and go back to his phone. There are going to be those moments. How are you going to react? You have to envision, what is that going to be like? And are you going to be supportive, or are you going to be angry? Is that going to result in a fight and then reaffirmation of your feelings? You're done with him and you want a divorce? Or are you going to see it from a different perspective? I have a husband who is addicted, whom I love very much. I want to save this marriage. He's not cheating on me with another woman. He's addicted to bots and is expressing sexual fantasies that perhaps he wasn't able or didn't feel safe to explore with me. You'll have to deal in marital counseling or just talk to each other at home without a professional involved, whether or not he can get like that with you. Can he talk to you like that? Can he explore sexual fantasies with you rather than with chatbots?
I think it's important to also address the fact that addiction is not because of lack of willpower. The brain is a machine and it's scientific, and addiction is chasing dopamine, right? So keeping all of that in mind, it's not like he's going out there trying to find something, and he's actually addicted. And I think addiction to chatbots, and we're going to see it more and more, just like now porn addiction is a thing. It's really all in the same realm of sex addiction. It's needing a dopamine fix, constantly chasing this, sexual desires and sexual feelings. And I think she needs to keep that in mind. It's actually a disease, and it's considered a disease under the American with Disabilities Act. Addiction is a legally recognized disease because it's not something that people can control. So if she really loves him and feels like he is the one for her, his brain is searching for this because it's the only way that he finds joy in this time of his life, and he's going to need rehabilitation.
You just made me wonder whether the marital vows apply here, for better or worse. This is the worst. Mm-hmm. Are you going to stick around or not? I mean, it's a personal choice. Maybe you don't know. Maybe he is cheating with others. Maybe it's just stage one. And if he needs that, I mean, look, generally people, especially in young relationships, when it comes to cheating, they want novelty, something new, that excitement, like I said, dopamine level. This is stage one, can progress stage 2, 3, and 4. Is it preventable? Is it only going to be in remission for a period of time? It's worth finding out if you love him, but it hurts. And aside from just helping him, you need help dealing with that as well.
Yeah.
Because what it's telling you is like, what's missing? What's wrong with me? Why does he have to talk to chatbots instead of being able to share that with me? His perspective may be, I can't talk to my wife like that. I can't be this kinky with her. Maybe it's too religious, or she won't understand. She'll think I'm dirty or crazy, and that's not how she knows me. So just be open with each other. It's already out in the open. You said you saw his explicit messages. You know how he thinks and how he wants to talk. Are you up for that? If you're not, there's no point to invest time in curing something that he is likely to experience withdrawal symptoms from and resort back to, and likely you're going to catch him doing it again.
Well, and I think just as important in her desire to stay with him and help him is his desire to be helped.
Correct.
He has to be on board. He has to be acknowledging the fact that this is a problem, because I think a lot of people in that situation where they're addicted to sex, but they're not technically cheating, their response would be, well, I'm not really doing anything wrong. And if that's the case, then I don't think it's fixable. If he's not acknowledging that it's wrong and it's hurtful and it's betraying to her, then I don't think therapy or counseling will help, because he's just going to be on the defensive.
You know, the fact that you said you questioned him about it, and in response, he just put his phone back in his pocket. He's smart enough to remain silent rather than incriminate himself. Then I'm sure you went through the rest of his texts and you didn't see any texts with other women. But have you checked every app he has on his phone? Not to make you paranoid, but I know some men who have apps where they keep secret photographs that they don't want their wives to see. A long time ago, someone I know showed me this calculator. Looks like a calculator on your phone, but you can actually put all your secret text messages with different women and photos, and no one will find out, but it looks like an app as a calculator, but it's not. So there could be other disguised apps on the phone that not scare you, but it's possible. And if he's going to commit to not doing it again, and you don't go to therapy, and if he doesn't get help for this clear addiction, then he'll probably find other deceitful ways to find apps that could potentially be disguised on his cell phone to chat with anime bots without you knowing. They'll be hard to find or identify. At least I think there's a great risk of that.
I think the fact that he's hid this from her, he's tried to continue hiding it from her, he didn't admit that he was wrong, all red flags when it came to him. I understand he's uncomfortable, but to me that points to the fact that he, at least at this time, doesn't fully acknowledge how wrong his behavior is.
Yeah, I don't think he sees anything wrong with it, and he thinks like, well, I'm not really cheating. What I'm doing is innocent. And he probably doesn't realize he has an addiction yet.
Yeah.
Somebody professional needs to tell him that. Hearing it from her, it's not going to register the same way.
For sure. Ilona, I'll ask you one first.
Sure.
Red flag, green flag. Your partner creates an AI version of their ex just to talk.
Of course, dump him. I mean, why? That means he got dumped. And I'll be so pissed off if that happened. Any human being would be.
Is it his fault?
As long as it's not like that robot they want to sleep with.
Do you think that someone would be angry if their boyfriend or girlfriend had a robot they were sleeping with? Is that the same thing as cheating?
If it's secret, then yes. If it's an open, then no. Like, I know a couple of single guys that are not in committed relationships, And sometimes there are a lot of women on their radar, and sometimes there are none. And they're during the dry season, they have a cute little doll they keep in the closet. Now, do I think that's gross? I'll keep that opinion to myself. Is it any of my business? No, I don't care who they sleep with. Emotional connection is important for everyone. It keeps us sane, makes us feel human. It keeps you in good spirits. It's absolutely necessary. But now comes in many different forms and ways, and whatever suits you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Red flag or green flag? You bring a 147-page AI legal brief to your consultation.
Red flag. Why do you need me? Why do you need me if you already wrote a 147-page brief? And that's the other thing. Like you were talking about how sometimes your clients provide you with way too much information and waste their retainer. I don't get paid by the hour. I have a contingency. So whether the case is worth $10,000 or $100,000, it doesn't matter if I spend 10,000 hours on it or 10 hours on it. We're just scratching the surface. AI is changing the courtroom faster than most people realize.
So we want to hear from you. Would you consider an AI relationship cheating? And have you ever trusted AI only to discover that it was wrong?
Don't forget to subscribe, follow, or leave a review. It really makes a difference for the show and lets us keep bringing you more and more episodes. And if you've got a question for Let's Get Gritty, leave it in the comments or send it to podcast@antoniamiranda.com.
I love AI. It's an amazing tool, but remember to test it and verify what it says. How far it can take you depends on how much you know and how effectively you challenge it. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on the Glamorous Grind.